Indigenous rights are a set of collective rights that Indigenous peoples possess due to their historical, political, and cultural connection to a particular geographic region. These rights are legally enshrined in many countries around the world, including the United States. However, despite these legal protections, Indigenous peoples still face disproportionate levels of healthcare disparities. Healthcare disparities are defined as differences in the quality of healthcare provided to different populations, which can be based on many factors, including race and ethnicity. For Indigenous peoples, healthcare disparities are a major issue, as their access to healthcare is often limited or non-existent. This lack of access to healthcare can lead to a range of health complications, including higher rates of communicable diseases, chronic diseases, and mental health issues. The causes of healthcare disparities for Indigenous peoples are complex and multifaceted. These disparities are often rooted in systemic racism, poverty, and inadequate access to healthcare services. Additionally, cultural and language barriers can make it difficult for Indigenous peoples to access the healthcare they need. In order to address healthcare disparities for Indigenous peoples, it is important to understand the unique history and culture of Indigenous peoples, as well as the challenges they face accessing healthcare. It is also important to work to ensure that Indigenous peoples have access to culturally competent healthcare services and providers. This includes increasing the number of Indigenous healthcare providers, providing culturally appropriate healthcare materials, and investing in the recruitment and retention of Indigenous healthcare providers. Finally, it is important to recognize that Indigenous rights are human rights, and that Indigenous peoples have the right to access the healthcare they need. This includes access to quality healthcare services, as well as the right to participate in decision-making processes on healthcare issues. It is also important to ensure that Indigenous peoples are included in healthcare policy and decision-making processes, and to ensure that any healthcare policies are created with the needs of Indigenous peoples in mind. Healthcare disparities for Indigenous peoples remain a major issue, but there is much that can be done to address this issue. By recognizing the unique history and culture of Indigenous peoples, investing in culturally competent healthcare services, and including Indigenous peoples in decision-making processes on healthcare issues, we can work to ensure that Indigenous peoples have access to the healthcare they need.